Hey guys, so today we're here to film the ultimate Sephora VIB sale buying guide. I have done these videos in the past, but I have always tried not to talk too much about like products I'd previously mentioned in previous videos, but we're throwing that out the window today because I kind of want this to be a super comprehensive video so that you only have to watch one video. So these are like my favorites. I'm gonna probably list multiple products from each category. We're going makeup, we're doing skincare, we're doing face masks, the whole kit and caboodle, basically everything I love from Sephora. So this is like, she's gonna be long, but she's gonna be comprehensive. These are all of the products I absolutely love. If you didn't know, the Sephora VIB sale is starting again soon. For VIB Rouge, I believe it starts October 30th, and then I think it starts a couple days later for VIB. I will leave all the dates in the description box below because I cannot remember them off the top of my head, but yeah, I kind of wanted to just go like super all in on everything I love. So first we're gonna start with primer. I have two primers I want to talk about here. First is the Milk Hydro Grip Primer. Now I will say, I have dry skin, so I don't need to control oil. For me, it's about glowiness, hydration, and longevity. So that's why I love the Milk Hydro Grip Primer. It really does keep your makeup on super long. It's a sticky primer. When you put it on your face, you have to let it sit for about a minute so that it can like sink in and get tacky, and then you apply your foundation on top of that. I will say, there are some foundations that do not play nice with this primer. This is not a primer that works with everything, so you kind of have to play around with it. I have put foundations on over top of this and they have looked atrocious. So that's a thing to consider, but other than that, it really does help. I think this helps your makeup last longer, and I do love a sticky primer. I remember years ago, everyone was talking about that Sisley primer that was like $200, and I think like Milk made your like high-end dupe of that. I mean, obviously still expensive, but a great primer, and I don't think I've ever seen a negative review about this, so like everyone loves this primer. As you can see, I've used up over half of it, and now that we're in quarantine, I don't wear makeup ever, so this is a solid primer that I really love. I don't know if I would say it's hydrating. Hello, cat. I don't know if I would say it's hydrating, but I would say that it's not drying. It definitely like keeps the moisture in your skin, which I like. So it doesn't make your skin look dry or cakey. So that's a positive to that. And then the other primer that I have repurchased over and over again, and it used to be really hyped up, but I feel like no one talks about it anymore, is the Becca Backlight Priming Filter. This is by far the best glowy primer that I have ever purchased. This is probably my third or fourth bottle of this. Now I will say I don't use it as much because I think what happened was back in the day, there were glowy primers, but there weren't a whole lot of glowy foundations. So now there's a lot of glowy foundations, and so if a foundation is really glowy, I don't need to use the glowy primer with it or it'll be too much. But I love, first of all, I love the like neutral champagne tone to this. I think it would work on every skin tone because it does blend in beautifully. And it just provides this like candle lit, like iridescent glow to your skin that's perfect. A lot of other glowy primers or glowy lotions, like the strobe cream, have like a blue pink shift to them that doesn't always work with everyone's skin tone. Whereas I think this is a very like mid-tone, like champagne-y, like natural glow that I think would work for everyone. It's a beautiful primer. It's super glowy. So if you're looking for something like that, I would definitely recommend this. I definitely think that this was hyped at one point and it kind of just like fell into the background, but I still love this and use it all the time when I need some extra glow, or if I want to use like a more matte foundation, but I don't want it to look matte on me, I will use this underneath it, and it really does show through. I've also used this to like mix with foundations. Like when I originally bought the Born This Way, it was too matte for me, so I would mix them together and then it would just make it perfection. For foundations, I have three foundations to talk about. Let me just get the expensive one out of the way. The Mcgrath Skin Fetish Sublime Foundation. I'm in the shade L6. Listen, this might be worth the hype. I will say the Sephora sale is a great time to buy it. I purchased it with a Sephora gift card. If you're VIB Rouge, you can save up 2,500 points and redeem that for a $100 gift card. They're not easy to get. They only release them every Tuesday and Thursday at a specific time, and you have to be on the website at that specific time to get it. But I have gotten it every time I've really tried to get it. And so I use that to pay for this. However, if you do have that gift card, you can't use the Sephora sale with it. So like you can't get 20% off of the items you use with the gift card, which I think is fucking bogus, but whatever. But yeah, I absolutely love this foundation. It's very lightweight, which I love, but it provides a really decent coverage. Like I wouldn't call it full coverage, but it's definitely like a medium buildable coverage foundation. And I think it provides all the coverage I need. It doesn't make your skin look, like it doesn't get heavy and cakey like some other full coverage foundations do. It lasts really well, like it wears beautifully, it's glowy. I love this foundation. I'm really mad when I use it up and I have to buy another one. Another like glowy, they're all glowy foundations, I'm sorry, this is just what I like. Another really nice glowy foundation is the Fenty Beauty Hydrating Pro Filter Hydrating Longwear Foundation. Now this foundation is glowy. If you don't like glowy foundation, you will hate this because it's like very glowy. You could probably put a powder over top of it and mattify it a bit, but it's like a very, very glowy foundation, which is why I love it, because I find it so hard to find super hydrating glowy foundations, but this is it, and I absolutely love this foundation. It's super full coverage. You don't need a lot, but it's not full coverage in like a cakey matte kind of way like a lot of other foundations were. Like I hated the original Fenty foundation, but like this was made for me. It's beautiful. My skin looks dewy and plump and glowy and perfect because it like covers all my imperfections but still makes my skin look like skin. I mean, it kind of looks like wearing foundation obviously, but like this foundation is probably one of my favorite super glowy hydrating foundations, but I will say this is the glowiest foundation I will list today and probably one of my glowiest foundations in general. So if you don't love like a super, super glowy foundation, you'll hate this. But if that's what you've been looking for, like I have been looking for this my whole life. So I loved this. And the last foundation I have to talk about is the Nars, I can never remember the name of this. This is the Nars, I can't speak. Nars Natural Radiant Longwear Foundation. I'm in the shade Mont Blanc. Today I mixed together these two foundations. I do love this foundation, but I will say one pump of this, I'm gonna show you. This is how much one pump is. And you're gonna see, you're gonna be like, that's not a lot. And so an issue a lot of people will have with this foundation is that it looks cakey because you're gonna use more than one pump because this isn't a lot of foundation, but let me tell you, this is all you need. And that's my issue with this foundation is because this is all you need and it's kind of a thick foundation, it's hard to like spread it out really well because like I said, it's such a thick foundation, you have such a small amount, you have to cover your whole ass face with it. But if you use any more than this amount, you will look cakey. I can't tell you any different. So it's like a super concentrated foundation. This shade matches me perfectly. So today I mixed it with the Mcgrath to kind of make this more full coverage and also to kind of make this creamier so that it's easier to spread everywhere, which is kind of what I like to do with it. I like to mix it with other foundations. On its own, it's beautiful. It's just kind of like takes a little bit of a like learning curve to figure out how to use it properly because it's such like a thick foundation, such a small amount. You really have to figure out how to get this tiny amount all over your face because it literally is all you need. That's why the pump is so small. And I kind of wish the formula was a bit thinner so it was easier to spread, but it's a beautiful like full coverage foundation. And I will say that it's not as glowy as the Fenty. So if the Fenty is too glowy for you, this is more of like a natural skin-like radiance as opposed to like glow central. So if you are kind of looking for like a more like wearable dewy foundation or something that's not so dewy, then this is definitely your best bet. I love it. I will say I did a compare video versus this and Sheer Glow foundation and they're kind of similar. I think in the end of that video, what I kind of concluded was that this was a little bit more full coverage and lasted a little bit longer, but if you have Sheer Glow, you don't need this. They're so similar. And again, Sheer Glow is a thinner formula, so it's a little bit easier to use. Although I don't think it comes with a pump yet, which is so dumb, but we love this. Also like the nice glass bottle. Nars packaging is just on point. I don't have any concealers to recommend because I've just been loving my e.l.f. concealer lately. I like the Mcgrath concealer a lot, so I will kind of put it out there. It's a nice concealer, but they don't have my perfect shade in it, so I can't recommend it because I had to buy 2 of them, which is a pain in the ass. And the e.l.f. Hydrating Camo Concealer is like the same concealer, but $7. But for powder, I have to talk about, I feel like this powder is so underrated. This is the Fenty Beauty Pro Filt'r Instant Retouch Setting Powder. I have the shade Lavender. If you're my skin tone where you're like you're fair with kind of like pinky undertones, This is the perfect brightening powder for under your eyes. I have found so many powders are like yellow tone, like the Laura Mercier one, the Hourglass one, like everything kind of has like this yellow tone to it, because for people with like olive and warm undertones, that's brightening for them, but it's not for me. That's why I love this powder. It's just like this beautiful lavender kind of color, and it is super brightening. So if you don't want a brightening powder, then I wouldn't recommend this because it's very bright, but I absolutely love it for under the eyes. I set it with my Juno & Co. Velvet Sponge, and honestly, my under eyes are like they're so smooth and soft. It's hard to explain. Like, they just look amazing. And this powder is thebomb.com. I absolutely love this powder. And like, honestly, while it's a little bit pricey, like when are you ever gonna go through this? Like, I don't think you could use this as like an all over face powder unless you're super fair, but for under the eyes, this will last me like till I die. Okay, so moving on to bronzers. I have so many bronzers to talk about, I don't even know myself. I'm gonna start with cream bronzers. The first one I have to talk about is the Milk Makeup bronzer stick. Now, I have the small one, which is only $20, and honestly, I don't think you need to buy the big one just because of like how much product you have in this. I've owned this since March and I use it all the time. You get so much product in here, and honestly, I like this one because of the size of it. Like, it fits right into like my cheek area and like my jawline and around my face so easily without having to use like, I don't have to like use the side, I can just use the whole thing, and it's like the perfect size to like apply all over my face. So for $20, you really can't beat it. Like, yeah, sure, it's more cost effective to get the bigger one because you get more product in it, but I like the size of this, and you do get so much product in here. It's kind of like the big one, it has like so much product that like, will you ever use it up? I don't know. But I love the color, I love the tone of this. And we'll swatch it here for you. It's definitely like, it's definitely a more like, I would call it like a neutral toned bronzer. Like, it's warm, it's what I'm wearing today, but like my lights always wash me out. But I love it. It's like, obviously I think if you have like medium, if you have anything darker than medium skin tone, this would not work for you. And I think they only have one shade, which is kind of a bummer, but if you are around my skin tone, this is gorgeous. And then I have two contour cream products to talk about. The first one is the Fenty Beauty Matchsticks in Amber. I know that when these first came out, they were like kind of hyped and then they kind of fell off, but I do think that like, I think for the highlighting ones, I get it, but the bronzer and the like contour ones are amazing. They do have this shade in their new cream compacts now as well. So if you don't like the stick formula, you get the compact. Although again, I like the stick because I can control where I put it. Whereas with a compact, if I'm putting it on a brush, not on my face, I feel like it can easily kind of get everywhere. So I just want to swatch this for you here so you can just see just how cool toned it is. Like, it's almost gray. So if you are my skin tone, this is the perfect contour shade for someone like us who has fair skin tone with pink undertones. It's very hard to find a contour that works for you because people never make them gray enough or they're too gray. This is the perfect in between that it has. Like, it's not really gray. Once you kind of blend it out, you can see that it's definitely more of like, it's cool toned, but it's not like gray cool tone, but it works perfectly for our skin tone. And it's like a super creamy formula that's easy to blend. And the last one, she's pricey, but honestly, ever since I've got this, I've fallen in love with it. This is the Charlotte Tilbury Hollywood Contour Wand. I am in the shade Fair to Medium. And now I will say, I'm not sure this would work for medium skin tones just because of how easily it blends out. But I will show you just how dark it is when you first, so this is how dark it is when you first put it on, and you're probably thinking like, wow, that's fucked up. And when I first put it on my face, I thought, oh my God, I'm never gonna be able to blend this out properly. But let me just show you that it blends like a fucking dream. And it blends into like this really beautiful, like, I honestly don't know if it's a contour or a bronzer. Like, it's kind of in between those two. Like, I don't think it's cool enough to be a contour, but it's definitely not warm enough to be a bronzer. It's like very neutral tone, so it probably would work great for someone with warm toned skin. But I also wear this all the fucking time. I love the formula of this. It has this like weird little squeezy brush on the end. So, and you can like also turn it so that it's on or off. So you can like lock it so no more product can come out. Cause I just squeezed kind of a bunch out. So I just locked mine. You don't get a whole lot of product in here. I'll be honest with you, sometimes I'm like squeezing and I feel like I'm like almost out of it, but the formula is beautiful. It blends out so easily so that even if you have fair skin, you could definitely use this. I would say if you have medium skin, I don't think this color would work for you because it is kind of light toned. You'd probably have to go up, which means the deep is probably not deep enough, which is something that's so common for luxury brands. But it's a beautiful, beautiful product, and the sale is the best time to buy it because it's so expensive. And speaking about expensive bronzers, let's talk about powder. This is the Marc Jacobs Omega Bronze Coconut Perfect Tan in Tantastic. Listen, this bronzer is truly beautiful. And what's beautiful about it is not so much the formula. The formula is just like a nice, it's just like a nice powder formula, but it's nothing like breathtaking. It's the tone though. I did a first impression video with this and someone commented and was like, I don't know what's so special about that bronzer. And I was like, that's because you're not my skin tone. As a fair person with pink undertones, it's very hard to find bronzers that aren't too orange on me. And this bronzer is honestly perfect. Like you can see here, it's just like a beautiful neutral toned bronze. It's not too orange. It kind of has more of those red undertones, which works really well with my skin tone. And it's just beautiful. Super expensive, but honestly, one of my favorite bronzers. And ever since I bought it, I think at the last sale, I've been using it nonstop. And then another bronzer I have to talk about is the Fenty Beauty Shady Biz bronzer. This is another bronzer that's a great formula or a great tone. I will say the formula is a bit more hard pressed than the Marc Jacobs. So what that means is you kind of have to build it up, which I think if you're a newbie with bronzer is great because you can't go overboard. You like really have to work to build up your bronzer. And again, this bronzer is also this beautiful, just like a light neutral color. And it's perfect on my skin tone, especially like in the winter months when it's colder out and I'm paler, like I go outside ever and get a tan. But I do love this. I just think the formula is a little bit more hard pressed. So I like the Marc Jacobs formula more, but I think if you're a beginner and like you find that you go overboard with your bronzer a lot, this would be great. And I love this tone. Honorable mention goes to the Too Faced Chocolate Soleil bronzer because that's the bronzer that got me into bronzers, but I honestly haven't reached for it in a while. I kind of feel like I need to pull it back out and fall back in love with it, but because I haven't reached for it in a while, I didn't feel comfortable mentioning it today, but it's a beautiful bronzer and definitely great for like light to medium skin tones. However, I will say, I believe when I purchased it online, it said it was for medium to deep skin tones, and let me just tell you, it's not. Okay, moving right along to highlighters. I have two to talk about. Honestly, there's so much Fenty in this fucking video. The Fenty Beauty duos. These are the Kilowatt Freestyle Highlighter duos. I have Lightning Dust and Fire Crystal, and let me just tell you, the Fenty highlighters are the fucking bomb.com. They're so beautiful. They're so glowy. They're amazing. Like one side is more glittery than the other, and one side is more like foiled than the other. It's magical, and I absolutely love it. And I also love that it's pink toned. It's very hard to find light shade, like light toned highlighters that are pink toned. I find a lot of them are too warm toned for me, so I can't really wear them. And this one is super pink toned, super fair. It's beautiful. It's everything. I've talked about this highlighter in so many videos. Like I've almost hit pan on this side, which is Fire Crystal. Amazing. And then another highlighter I talk about all the time that I think is so underrated. This is the Milk Makeup Flex Highlighter in the shade Lit. Now I'm wearing this today and you will see that kind of in some ways of me turning my face, it's too dark, and that's because I always put too much on. It's a little bit of a darker highlighter, so if you're any fairer than me, I don't think this would work for you. But this is the perfect, like look at this highlighter. This is the perfect foiled highlighter. Like it just looks wet on your skin. There's no glitter, there's no shimmer. It's just like liquid. It looks liquid on your skin and it's absolutely beautiful. Like just look at that. It's so beautiful, and I don't think these highlighters get enough hype for how great they are. And I think they need more hype. This is definitely one of the highlighters I reach for like every single day. And what I like about it is Lightning Dust and Fire Crystal is very pink toned, whereas this is more of like a, like it has pink obviously in it, but it's more neutral. So I feel like I can wear it with more looks, or with the pink tone one, if I'm doing like a look today where it's like a grungy smoky eye, I just kind of feel like it doesn't really pull in well. Like a pink highlighter doesn't really work well with that, but this is perfect. Okay, we're on eyes. I feel like this video is gonna be so long. Okay, I'm gonna start with brows, and I only have one product, and that is the Benefit Goof Proof. I love this eyebrow pencil. It is one of the ones with the angled tip on it. I'm just gonna say, I'm fucking lazy when it comes to my eyebrows, and I love my eyebrows, but like the idea of doing like individual little hair strokes with a micro brow pencil is my worst nightmare. And I love this one. Anastasia has one that has this same angled tip, but the formula is definitely harder and waxier, and I find that it's harder to apply on my eyebrows because of that, whereas this is a nice, really creamy formula that gives you time to work with it, but then it does dry down and it stays in your brows perfectly, but you have that time to kind of like wipe away spots, or like I like to kind of feather like the inner part of my brow a little bit, and like you have that workability time with it before it sets down, and it's so creamy when it applies. It's super easy. I will say when my brows are a little bit more unruly and not kind of like tamed, it can be a little bit messy, but again, because of how easy it is to kind of wipe away and how malleable it is, it's super easy to fix that. And I just think that this is like a super underrated brow product. For actual eyeshadow, I have to talk about the Urban Decay Primer Potion, because I do feel like this fell off for a long time. Everyone uses concealer now, or they use those like really thick primers like the P. Louise or the Anastasia one, and like I have dry eyelids, so I cannot put... I have dry yet oily eyelids at the same time. It's a whole thing. So my skin is dry, but my eyelids crease really easily. So I have had a hell of a time trying to find a primer that works for me. And like primers like the P. Louise and the Anastasia and even concealer can be so thick on me that they don't work. And I love the Urban Decay eyeshadow primer potion in the shade Eden because it's pigmented, but it's not too pigmented where like you just feel like it's too much on your eyelids. Like it's like the perfect amount to cancel out your redness in your veins, but still like conceal, but like still like prime nicely. I always blend it out with a beauty blender to make it like nice and sheer, because I do think that if you put too much eyeshadow primer on, you're just gonna end up with creasing anyways, because it's gonna feel too thick on your eyelids and it can make your eyeshadows look kind of like chunky. And I don't love that. I love this, love it. For eyeshadows, I don't have a lot to talk about, because when I look at all the eyeshadow palettes that I have sitting next to me that I reach for every single day, there's not a whole lot that's high end. Like I have a lot of ColourPop palettes. I have my Desi and Katie Joseph Colors palette. I have my Toddy palette. I have some Morphe palettes. I have like a single eyeshadow palette. I have Anastasia palettes, but like I'm kind of over supporting Anastasia. I will say some of their old palettes are beautiful and the formula is great, but like as a brand, they're kind of trash. So these are kind of like the two eyeshadow products that are high end that I would recommend. The first one is the Hourglass Scattered Light Glitter Eyeshadow. I have the shade Smoke, and these are expensive. They're kind of like how the L'Oreal shades used to be, but it definitely feels kind of more liquidy. And they are just like, this is what Smoke looks like here. It's just the most beautiful, like glittery eyeshadow. I absolutely love it. I think they're totally worth the money. They have tons of shades now. When I first bought this, they only had a couple, and like I kind of want to buy other ones, but like for me personally, I only want to spend this kind of money on something I'm going to use all the time, and Smoke is literally like my perfect everyday taupey shade. So like it is the only shade that I would reach for every single day. They do have some champagne colors that are nice though, so I would recommend those also. I guess in the same vein, something that I didn't pull out of my collection but I would recommend are these Stila Glitter and Glows. I know they were super hyped up a long time ago and people don't really talk about them anymore, but I think they're totally worth the hype. Absolutely amazing. They have made glitter so easy to apply. I have Diamond Dust and Kitten and something else, Wonderlust I think it's called. They're all amazing. I absolutely love them. So that one's more glittery though. This one is more like everyday because it has like some glitter particles in it, but it's definitely more of like a cream to powder shadow that just like looks super foiled and beautiful on the lids, and we stand. For eyeshadow palettes, I have to talk about Melt, especially the Gemini palette. I have the Muerte palette, but I think the Gemini palette is just better in terms of the color story and wearability. Like this is a palette that I could wear every single day, and I wear it all the time. It's what I'm wearing on my eyelids today. I just love these like grungy kind of orangey brown colors and like the grungy like greens. It's like the perfect fall palette also. I absolutely love it. I do think Melt Cosmetics is a little bit overpriced at $77, but it is like, I don't even know if you can, like, to me it's like, oh, it's an indie brand, but like, is it an indie brand anymore? I don't really know. But yeah, we love her. It's a beautiful palette. I will say in terms of the shadows, they're definitely more hard pressed than some other eyeshadow formulas that are out there, but I think there's nothing wrong with the shadow formula. Like, it blends beautifully, and it's not like too pigmented. Like you kind of have to build up the shadows, which again I kind of like, and I think is made for more of like your everyday consumer to make it easier for them. And yeah, I love this palette. I wear it all the fucking time, and it's beautiful. And I do have the 420 palette in my cart for the sale because I want that one too. Their palettes just speak to me. They just like get me as a human. Last two eye products. First one is the Marc Jacobs Velvet Primerizer Mascara Primer. This is my favorite mascara primer. I have really like flat eyelashes. They stick straight out and they don't hold a curl well, and they're thin and sparse and they're just trash. So I always use a mascara primer. I don't ever purchase high-end mascaras because I'm always let down by them. I feel like at drugstore mascaras, you can really find great mascaras. You don't need to pay the high-end prices, but like mascara primers, I feel like you can't really find great ones at the drugstore. So I highly recommend this one. It makes your lashes just so fluffy and like thick and beautiful, and I live for it. And for eyeliner, I have to talk about the Fenty Fly Liner. How many Fenty products were in this video? I love the Fenty Fly Liner a lot. It is a felt tip liner, which I only use felt tip liners. This is what it looks like here. It has a pretty fine tip. The tip is very flexible, so I would say if you only like brush applicators, you would probably use this just fine, because I find that brush tip applicators are more flexible than felt tips. So for me personally, there's a bit of a learning curve with this, but I absolutely love this eyeliner. And I will say, if you have issues with eyeliner transferring or smudging off, or like you have watery eyes and it like waters away, this one is waterproof. Like, it's hard to get off at the end of the night, just a heads up. So that's a thing, but it will stay all day. It's super black. It goes on like butter. It's absolutely amazing. Okay, my camera just overheated on me, and while I did that, I realized that I skipped blush. So I have two blushes to mention. First one is Benefit's Dallas blush. Okay, first of all, the Benefit blushes have so much product in them that they will literally last you your whole entire life. And this is just a beautiful, kind of a pinky brown color. I literally only wear like pinky brown or warm tone brown blushes. I don't know, it's just the only thing I like. I don't like anything else on my cheeks. So I absolutely love this blush. Be warned though, I have been told they changed the formula. So like, prayers to you if you get a new one and it's trash. Or sorry, I think they changed the color because they changed the formula. So like, my heart goes out to you if you can't get this anymore, but it's one of my all-time favorites. And I've used it for like literally a year straight and still haven't hit pan. So will this ever? It's like the Mary Poppins of highlighters. So the other blush is Nars Madly. I actually just repurchased this because I used up all of my Nars Madly. Do you know what it takes for me to use up a blush? I have never used up another blush in my entire life except for Nars Madly. It's what I'm wearing on my cheeks today, but it does look a little bit washed out in the light. It's just a beautiful, it's also a warm tone pinky brown. It looks really light in the pan, but it's definitely much darker when you put it on. And it's just absolutely beautiful. It has some like shimmer in the pan, but that doesn't really translate onto your cheeks. It's definitely more of just like a slightly glowy blush, which I love. It's just the best blush. If you like warm toned, like brownie kind of blushes, Madly is the best. Okay, two more categories for makeup. First is lips. I don't have a lot of lipsticks. I don't buy a lot of high-end lipsticks anymore. I don't even buy a lot of liquid lipsticks anymore, but the two lipsticks I'm gonna talk about are liquids. The first one is the Anastasia liquid lipsticks. I don't find these to be super drying. Like, I don't like a super matte liquid lipstick anymore, but I don't find these to be super drying. They're long wearing. I do always put a lip balm on underneath them, but I think they're super comfortable on the lips, and they have some beautiful colors. Today I'm wearing the shade Toast, which is just like so gorgeous. Sepia is also one of my favorites. And the other one are the Kvd Liquid Lipsticks. I just have this mini one here, but I have tons of other ones, just one I happen to have nearby. This is the shade Hawkwind. I don't know if they carry this one. I think it was just in like a holiday set a couple years ago, but the Kvd Liquid Lipsticks are super comfortable on the lips, super long wearing. They have amazing colors, and I just absolutely love them. And then the last product, which kind of bridges the gap between skincare and makeup, are setting sprays. We have to talk about Matchsticks Plus. Matchsticks Plus is like the OG setting spray, and I will say that it is everything it was hyped up to be. It's not a setting spray, it's just like a spray that really helps to, it's like a finishing spray because it really helps to kind of just like melt all of your powders together and make everything look super natural and like blended and glowy on the skin. It's honestly so hard to explain, and I heard people hype it up forever, and then I finally bought it myself and used it, and now this is like my fourth or fifth Max Fix Plus, and I live for it. The only other one I'm going to talk about is the Urban Decay All-Nighter Setting Spray. I also love this, and around the sale, you can usually get them in packs of 2 for like $50, which is a deal because I think they're like 30 something each. So definitely look out for that. That's where I purchased it last year, and so I actually have another one that's full. I do love this setting spray. Do I think it makes my makeup last longer? I don't really believe any setting spray works, but I like this a lot. I like what it makes me feel in my brain. Okay, skincare. First thing I'm gonna talk about is lip balm, just because it kind of goes into both categories. We're talking Laneige. I love every Laneige lip product, okay? The Laneige Glowy Lip Balm is what I use every single day. Like, it's in my purse, it's in my office desk, it's everywhere. It's like the perfect lip balm because it comes in a squeeze tube. And then you have the Laneige Lip Sleeping Mask. This one comes with like a little spatula. You feel super bougie. I use this every single night, and I have one in my bathroom and one here on my desk. I think you probably get more bang for your buck with the lip sleeping mask, because I think you get more product in here and they're around the same prices, but I love both of them. Both of these are in the scent Grapefruit, and I have one of these in my cart already for the sale, and there's a new flavor called Gummy Bear. Apparently it just smells like grape, but like, I'm here for it. I love all the scents. In this one, I don't love the berry scent, but it's fine in the like tub. It's just not as great in here. It tastes a little bit, it smells a little more artificial, but we love these. They're super hydrating. I have very, very dry lips, and those ones are amazing. For skincare, I have one tool to talk about, and that is the Foreo Luna Mini. It's expensive, it's like $200, but I definitely kind of think that Foreo came in and murdered Clarisonic. I'm pretty sure Clarisonic went out of business this year because replacing the brush heads is too much work. With this one, they are antibacterial silicone little nodules. They're super soft on your skin. You don't have to wash this every night like you do with the Clarisonic brush heads. And the charge lasts for like 6 months. Like, I literally, I didn't charge this for so long that I lost my charger. And then I had to, when it finally died, I had to buy a charger, like a charger dupe off Amazon. It's just amazing. I love using cleansing brushes for cleaning my skin. When I wear a lot of makeup, I just feel like this does something. And I do think that because it's slightly exfoliating, it kind of helps with my texture. So I absolutely love it. I guess I'll start with masks just because they kind of go on before these other products. My holy grail, like, this mask is worth the hype, worth the price tag. It's super expensive, but it's the Glam Glow mask. This is the white one. It's the only one of theirs that I think is worth it. It is like their mud mask for like pore cleaning, and it really does suck everything out of your pores. I've used this a ton during quarantine because of maskne, and I think it totally works. It really does help to bring everything to the surface and clear your skin out. It's pricey, but you also can use this as like a spot treatment. So if you're getting a spot and you don't want to have to waste this whole mask all over your face, just put it in the areas where you're getting the spot and it works just as well. We love her. And then it's not a super drying mask also, which I like because I have dry skin. But because I have dry skin, I always put a hydrating mask on after I put on the Glam Glow mask. And my holy grail hydrating mask that I might need to go add to my cart, I think, is the Origins Drink Up Intensive Overnight to Quench Skin's Thirst Mask. This is like $30, and I think Origins is super underrated, and this mask is super underrated. It is hands down the best hydrating mask I've ever used, and I've used the Glam Glow one, I've used Vichy ones, I've used so many. This is the best one. It lasts forever. You need the smallest amount, and like, it just, you sleep with it on your skin. It's not super, super heavy, but it is super moisturizing, and I always wake up with like super plump, beautiful skin afterwards, and I think this is amazing. For toner, I have to talk about the Fresh Rose Deep Hydration Facial Toner. This is hands down one of my favorite toners. I have repurchased this probably 5 or 6 times. It's expensive, but I honestly think it's a beautiful hydrating toner. Do you need a $50 toner? I don't know, but I do find that this does something to my skin. It makes it a little bit more supple and soft, and I love it. And like it does last a really long time, so I don't mind spending money on skincare that lasts a really long time. I would love to find a dupe for this. It's cheaper, but I love this toner so much. Serum wise, I just have one to talk about, and that is the Pharmacy Honeymoon Glow AHA Resurfacing Night Cream with hydrating honey and gentle flower acids. I will say, lactic acid is a very intense acid, so if you're not used to using acids, this could wreak havoc on your skin. When I first started using it, it did not treat my skin well. So I can only use this every other night because it's too intense for my skin. But as you can see, I've used up about half the bottle, and honestly, every time I use this, my skin wakes up feeling like resurfaced and soft and like baby soft in the morning. And that's my main issue, is texture. So if you have any recommendations for good texture products down below, let a girl know, because that's my main issue, and this really does help with my texture like exceptionally. So we love her. Moisturizers. Okay, listen, this is a $22 moisturizer from Sephora, and if you have dry skin, you need this. My best friend's skin is the Sahara Desert, and I also have dry skin, and we both swear by this. This is the Sephora, that's French side, the Sephora 3 Oils Nourishing Moisturizer, Hydrate and Repair. Like I said, it's only like $22 in Canada, which means it's probably even cheaper in the States. It's like a super, super thick moisturizer. It goes on so beautifully. Your skin just feels so soft and hydrated in the morning. I absolutely love this. I probably have repurchased this 3 or 4 times as well, and I will continue to repurchase this forever, because not only is it an amazing moisturizer, but it's also so inexpensive, especially for Sephora, that like I will never be able to stop buying it. Like whenever I see a super high-end, like a higher end Sephora brand moisturizer that I want, I'm just like, okay, but like this is $22 and I know it's amazing. Okay, last product, The Ordinary. I know it's not an expensive product, but I always pick it up during the sale because it's on Sephora and 20% off is 20% off. The hyaluronic acid one plus B5, I absolutely love it. That's already in my cart because I ran out of it. But the Ordinary 100% organic cold pressed rose hip seed oil, I can never say that, is also one of my favorites. I use this every single night as the final step to my skincare routine to just seal in the face, and it's honestly amazing. A lot of people have said that it helps with their hyperpigmentation and their acne scarring, and I just think it's like super nourishing and amazing. I've also like mixed this with the squalene before because that's hydrating, or the marula oil. Marula oil is a little bit stinky though. I think this one's kind of stinky too. Oh no, it's not bad. No, this one's not bad. Some of the Ordinary products are a little bit stinky because like there's no frills, right? Like you're just getting the oil, which is what I love about it, because like honestly, you don't need the frills. like if you're buying the Drunk Elephant Marula oil, just buy the Ordinary one. The price differences are wild, and I absolutely love the rose hip seed oil. So beautiful. Okay, that is it. That is everything I love from Sephora. Oh, last honorable mention, beauty blenders. You know the hype. I don't have to go into detail about it, but buy a beauty blender. You always need more, and they're amazing. So that's everything that I love from Sephora. These are all of like my all-time favorite products, holy grails, must-haves. Live for them. Let me know down below what your must-haves are. Let me know down below what you're gonna buy from the Sephora sale, if you will be participating in the Sephora sale this year. So let a girl know what you think about this video. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll talk to you guys next time. Bye.